Hello and welcome everybody, I am your humble host Gavin the Kitty, and today we are playing Megaman World 5. This is a Game Boy game, oftentimes just referred to as Mega Man V, but we're just gonna jump right in. But of course, I've got with me today...
Hi everyone, it's me again. It's Casey Tape.
my lovely co-host, co-commentary, and fellow streamer, who has been doing a lovely job. I'm sure she's a bit worn out from today, but yeah.
I'll be fine though.
But how are you doing today, Casey, other than being worn out?
I'm doing quite fine. Cuddly Kong says my little brother broke my Game Boy.
Well, that's alright, because this wouldn't work on your original Game Boy anyways, but I'm sorry that your Game Boy got broke. I do hope you're able to find a new one here soon. But here we are opening up with this one. So, this game came out on the Game Boy. Then, if you plugged it into a Super Game Boy, you got a cool border. And some extra colors, and then the palette was slightly different for the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance. It also ran a little better on the Super Game Boy, but it wasn't perfect. And then in 2002, they were considering making a compilation of all of the Mega Man Game Boy games. The source code for this project was completely lost, so they had to cancel the project because it was too far along in development and wouldn't be out by the time the Anniversary Collection came out on the PS2. These versions would have full color, they would run better, they would look better because of the color, and they'd also have a few cool extra features, like you could use the other weapons in the other games, or at least that was what one build of the game had. Since the source code's lost, the game never came out, and fans have been picking up the pieces. So, here's the first one of these DX patches for Mega Man 5. It runs amazing. It no longer works on the color, but it will run on the original Super Game Boy or the original Game Boy. But it'll run on a color. It'll run on a Game Boy Advance, and it's pretty cool.
Wouldn't this technically be Mighty Mega Man? Asks Karmic.
No, because it's a Game Boy, because Mighty often infuse that it is a chibi-fied version, and that it is a retelling of a certain story. Instead, this is its own thing. It's still just Mega Man. This is Dr. Lloyd's Lab. We'll be coming here for shop arts. This is actually the second game in the series to feature a shop, the other of which we will be seeing later this week. However, Mega Man's got a brand new weapon at his disposal, and a brand new pet that he can bring out into battle. Yes, Karmic, you can run with that. So how's the chat doing overall? I hope they're all doing quite well. But there's Tango. We'll be using them quite often against the bosses, especially early on. So Casey, do you have any questions about this game so far?
That in itself is a good question. I'll get back to you on that one.
Alrighty. Oh my gosh, Casey, you might want to read the chat, because I think they
Hilariously enough, that is the inspiration behind my name.
That is why she named herself that, which was hilarious, because I guessed the same exact thing when I first met Casey. So Cuddly Kong, good job, right on the nose.
You get 5 points.
5 points, Cuddly Kong! Anyways. I am sorry for the late start today, but it happens. These guys, what I'm picking up here are what's known as the P-chips. They are essentially the shop currency for this game. They were also in 4 for Game Boy. Essentially, they're a small power source. I don't actually know how it works, and because it doesn't stick around, we don't get any good sort of explanation. But all these bots are from space, which is why we have the Mega Arm, which is a more powerful charge shot, believe it or not. It allows Megaman to do all sorts of really cool stuff once he upgrades it, but for now, this is what we got. We've also got the normal Buster, so... But yeah. Of course, with this comes some risk and reward. I can't immediately shoot if I've shot a charge shot. Not because it hasn't left the screen, but because I haven't got my hand back yet, so... Luckily, there's no knockback, so it's... You're gonna get into why... I'm gonna get into that, why that's... The knockback part is important, later this week when we do 4 for Game Boy. How is the audio, everybody, by the way? I am curious how we sound today. I've got lots of time to talk about stuff today, so I won't be rushing through trivia like I was with 10 or 9 or any of these, really. Which is nice for me, because it'll save my voice. So Casey, you played a little bit of this hack. What did you think of it?
I thought it was pretty okay. I mean, it's practically the base game. There isn't too many changes outside of the color, but...
Actually, there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of lag in this game, believe it or not.
Okay, aside from that, though, but still, I like this game. It's a really nice challenge, and actually, I like how they managed to cram, like, this much space onto a Game Boy screen.
Yeah.
And still have it work.
It is amazing how high res these sprites are, especially for the Game Boy. I know they're just NES sprites, but they're still massive compared to the console. And the fact that they got the color working so well is just really a testament to how well we know the Game Boy Color now in terms of hardware specs. Cuddly Kong says it sounds good. That's great. To go along with that, this is Mercury. I don't like Mercury very much. His weapon is an absolute pain. You might have saw it right there. He stole one of the 1/4 of an E-Tank from me. Which is not great, because I'm gonna need as many of those as I can possibly get my hands on. He can also steal health and weapon energy, so if you're fighting this guy with his weakness, it's still an absolute challenge. And a small bit of a pain. But that's all good, because we just kicked his butt. None of the Star Droids have man in their second half of the name, especially because they're, from space, so they're named after planets. They're also all pretty much escaped convicts from a war galaxies and galaxies away. We saw the tail end of that in Mega Man 8 with Duo and Quartet, so... Or Trio, sorry, not Quartet. But here's how the weapon works. Shows you how it's done. And you get a cool splash screen. That makes it better than the NES games already, because we get a bit of both, which is great. We're gonna go stage select instead of going to Dr. Light. I haven't mentioned the other 3 bosses, so we've also got Venus, Neptune, and Mars. Are there any female robots? In Mega Man 9, there's Splash Woman. There are definitely female robot masters that do exist, including Roll, and there are female Vesper Woman as well, yes, and Quake Woman. But we don't fight very many of them. I don't know if any of these guys are female, so for now we're just going to not presume. Let's see here. Next up, I will tackle Venus here, because Venus is always a good boss fight. Within lore, it is heavily contested whether these bots are actually built by Wily. So, it is unknown whether the Star Droids are built by Wily or not. I lean on the side of they are not. I'm sure that's a good debate to have in the lore, but as far as everything can tell us, with these guys having stronger battle armor, having half their fleet out in space, and all worshipping another Star Droid known as Sun God, who is just as powerful, it leads me to believe that all of these bots are not built by Wily. Maybe they're working with Wily, but they are not Wily's bots. They are not built on Earth.
I mean, I could see why they would say that, but then who's to say Duo isn't?
Exactly. Especially because we see him way out by the rings of Saturn. Which is a crazy distance to think of.
It is.
And by that measure, then Trio would have to be built on Earth, which doesn't make any sense at all, because evil energy isn't from Earth. But yeah, this is the start of the whole evil energy and robot thing.
A whoopee.
So, oh boy, confusing lore time. But over here are the mini E-Tanks. 4 of them make an E-Tank. It's kind of like a heart piece, except not really. You don't want to get caught in this water. Anything it touches turns into basically a bottomless pit, and it likes to drag you to the ground. So in terms of that, just stay out of the way, stay on solid ground, and watch where it's coming from. Because it will drag you off of ladders and through blocks. So don't sleep on that stuff. It is definitely evil.
It's spooky.
Here's Eddie giving me some help. That's good.
Wow, he actually did something useful for once.
And then I messed up. Rewinds are going to be absolutely allowed. Mega Man 5 for Game Boy, like all Game Boy titles in this series except for one, are incredibly difficult to the point where I actually have a hard time playing them. Mostly because of the lag, and here it's because of the lack of lag, believe it or not. I've played this game so many times with the lag that without it, it just feels different. I'm used to having more time to react to stuff, and here I just don't have that, so... That's just the way it's gonna be. I would like to ask the chat, how is chat holding up today? Because I know that I made people wait quite a bit today, but it was not for the sake of science. I got a late start, Casey had work, and I didn't want to interrupt that, and I didn't want her to miss out on this game. And then to go along with that, I have an interview with Flashman85 Live that keeps getting shuffled and rescheduled and moved around, and it's a mess.
Then I kept messing up the bus schedule, and it was all a mess.
It's been an absolute mess. But you know what? It's okay. We're here now. We're streaming. We're playing. And you get all this cool trivia, so... Well, I hope you're able to find one soon, Cuddly Kong. This is my job, so I can't really say anything. Even if I don't make a whole lot from this gig, it's still very nice. I like making these YouTube videos for people. I like entertaining. It gives me an excuse to use my art skills for something good, and I get to show off these really cool games. So here's the first boss that I like to use Tango on. So within that stage, there wasn't an E-Tank, but there was at least 4 mini E-Tanks. So if yeah. So if I hadn't gotten my one of the 4 mini E-Tanks stolen from me in the Mercury fight, I would have actually been A-okay. But for Tango, you just charge up the Buster, and Tango gets called down once you release, and then he just goes wild on the boss. He doesn't induce any invincibility frames, and neither does the Buster that you use while in Tango's form. So just go crazy with firing until the boss is dead. Tango is a super useful power-up, and I'm gonna really showcase that here. It's kind of like Rush if Rush could attack. Because I get a lot of use out of Rush in Marvel vs. Capcom, where he'll charge and dash at enemies. Meanwhile, here it's a little less so, but still. We got Bubble Bomb and Rush Coil. Because not even Rush was prepared for this attack. Next up, we're going to go to Neptune, and hopefully this works. We're making really good pace so far, which is really good. I've been anxious and worried about this one. So, to go along with this game's actually slightly longer than an NES Mega Man game. So, I'll get into how that works in a second. But these little guys that pop up out of here with the little cannons, they are technically Mets. Technically. I know they don't have the double eye, but it is still considered a Met. No, I don't know how that works. It just does.
Well, I know what I'm adding to the list.
Cool, because we have one other Met that we're going to see throughout this game, I believe. If not two. And now we've reached our first checkpoint of this stage, which is perfect, because that opening section is really rough for newcomers. This game is not a newcomer-friendly game, but it is totally worth it, especially if you're playing the DX pack, and you get used to this version of the game. I love what the fans are able to do with this series. Believe it or not, right after the DX patch got released, there was actually a Mega Man 1 colorized hack, which isn't the best, but it is certainly better. It doesn't have all of the quality of life improvements that this one does, but it does a really good job, and we'll be showing that one off when we get to it. Seems like we've got some new chat members. We could read that out, Casey.
Alright. We got Felipe coming in, saying, so Mega Man learned from Hard Man for this game?
No. Dr. Light upgraded his Mega Buster into the Mega Arm, where he essentially is holding on to the ball of plasma and then releasing it right against the armor, which is absurd to me. Casey, did I tell you I managed to figure out the specs of this thing?
Oh, you did?
I did. It is twice as powerful as the Mega Buster that we saw in 6.
In 6? Didn't this come out around 5?
Yeah. Well, technically it came out around 7, if I remember correctly.
Oh, well then, fair enough. I can see why it would be slightly more powerful.
But as far as timeline's concerned, yeah, it came right after 5. 4 for Game Boy, and then 5.
Alright. Well, let's see here. Cuddly Kong asks if Mets are the little construction hat dude.
Yes, they are. It is short for helmet. Definitely, they're called Metools or Metars, and they have, I think, 2 other names. Mentana, yeah. But Mets are basically the Goomba to Mario for Mega Man.
Alright. Skylar has joined the chat as well. He asks, how's it going?
I'm doing quite well. I'm just playing one of the best Game Boy titles. For Neptune here, he is incredibly bouncy. He likes to bounce a lot. So we're not going to be... I don't believe we actually have a good weakness for him, except for Mars, and I didn't go to him. Luckily, it gives me plenty of time to show off the usefulness of Tango. We're also going to make sure to use an E-Tank here. We're almost to getting our first upgrade, which will help me use weapons more often. But there we go. Tango beat the boss. Tango really isn't used again after this game, but he does make lots of cameos, as we saw in 10. Tango knows how to spin dash and spin bounce. He's got all those sick moves. Speaking of, I was wondering if chat wanted me to play through Sonic 1 and 2 again. I've recently got the Sonic 1 Forever and Sonic 2 Absolute working, and I've been enjoying the heck out of the modding scene for that, and I was wondering if you guys would be down to watch another playthrough of those two games on their own with mods. That is the question. We're just gonna start up Mars here and hope for the best. I'm not really sure how well this one's gonna go, but we're gonna hope for the best. So Casey, out of the four of these first four bosses, which one has your favorite design? Casey?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay.
So I don't know if you could hear me when I went,
I really couldn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm thinking right now.
Cut the
I don't know. I'm stuck on between Mercury and oh my gosh, what is it again? It's not Mars. It's not Mars or Venus.
Neptune?
Neptune, thank you.
Yeah, right here we're gonna get a lot of use out of Rush Coil. I chose the order based on a few factors. How easy is it to get to the stage? How easy is the boss? How much can Tango shred the health? Do we have a weakness? And is it more advantageous to do this before or after getting upgrades? I determined the first four weren't too bad, but we are going to need the upgrades for the next four, and especially the one that picks up power-ups from far away. I'll be getting to all of those upgrades in a bit, and their names in Japan, because they've got some glorious names outside the States. We found stuff like Magic Hand, and it was neat. So Celtic Kong says, Sonic is lit. We did one run through of Sonic 1 and Sonic 1 on the Game Gear last year. And then I also did it with Sonic Origins when that released. So I only ask because I want to play those games again, and I think I could do a much better job than I did before. But that is...
At least you're not...
Oh, go for it.
I was about to say, at least you're not playing Sonic the Hedgehog 1 Genesis on Game Boy Advance.
I refuse to touch that. I refuse to touch Sonic 1 Genesis on Game Boy. I won't play that. I just refuse to touch certain games. There are some things that I just think are too much for me and for my audience. I respect them too much to let them go through that. Zenny says, "It me, I am here." Cool. Lovely to have you, Zenny. There's another E-Tank. That'll come in handy later. Chat, if the chat has any questions about the game, feel free to ask. Stuff in this game does a lot of damage, too, because Megaman's got basically half his normal health bar, but things still kind of sort of do the same amount of damage they would do on an NES game, which kind of sucks, but it's alright. I don't see it as too much of a hindrance. Especially with weapons like Mercury's, where I can steal health from stuff. Looks like we got a good
Cuddly
question.
Kong asks,
Just, I said that just as you were reading it out. Go for it.
is that the Sonic that looks like a Mario game? Asks Cuddly Kong.
No. So Sonic 2 Absolute and Sonic 1 Forever are essentially PC ports of the mobile Taxman versions that have full controller support, mod support, and quite a bit of extras, as we found out. Options for just about everything, extra sprites for everything, extra secret zones. By the way, Casey, I learned that Dust Hill, the Beta Casino Night, and a whole bunch of other secret zones exist in that Sonic 2 port.
Alright. By the way, Cuddly Kong was referring to the Sonic Genesis on Game Boy Advance.
Oh!
They were thinking of Sonic Advance.
Oh! No. If you want to tell them what that is, I will be more than happy to let you.
So, Sonic 1 Genesis on the Game Boy Advance is a port of the original game on the Genesis from 1991. Sonic Advance is much more different. It's its own game and its own franchise.
And
Well, not franchise, but you know.
it's its own trilogy. It's got Sonic Advance 1, 2, and 3, and those three games are actually really, really good. Casey doesn't seem to like them, but I told her to give them another go, because I think she might enjoy them. And I think, and then Sonic Genesis on Game Boy is slapdash port. Felipe said that boss just got murdered. Absolutely. Mars can wreck you if you're not careful. But we've got another cutscene, so first we're gonna go to Dr. Light's lab and upgrade Megaman here.
Well, if you really think about it, Mars is the god of war, so I guess it would make sense and it would fit.
This is called a power-up item. In Japan, it's called the Magic Hand. That's why it says MH. It allows you to grab items from far away. You need 90 P chips for it. And we're going to go ahead and get it because that is going to help us out with getting more E-Tanks and power-ups. This one allows us to grab a hold of an enemy and repeatedly hit them as if you were grabbing them and pummeling them in a fighting game. This one's super useful, but it costs 100 P chips. Of course, there's the energy balancer, which will help us out with using weapons. Special tank, which is a full heal. It's kind of like the M tank. This one is a full this one's a full meter heal. We're gonna want this into the final levels, especially later on, because our weapons won't refill once we're out in space. And then, of course, there's E-Tanks, mini E-Tanks, and all that. But we're done here in the shop, so let's go see that cutscene. And now we've got Terra. Or at least the first fight with Terra. Got a nice cutscene here. Felipe says Sonic Genesis was meant to be played by people with Ultra Instinct. Yeah, it does feel like that at times. But here at here we are at Naxa, the space station center in the Mega Man universe. And of course, nobody's here, but we got a distress call saying that Terra is at this base. And we're gonna have one of the coolest fights in this game.
Oh, that's interesting.
What's up?
So, Mercury's attack in Japan is called the Snatch Buster.
Oh! Well, that's something.
So, over here it's called the Grab Buster, but over there it's called the Snatch Buster. That's pretty...
I think I know why they changed it. So here's our boss. What do you think of this so far, Casey? Having nightmares?
The live stream DC. Oh gosh.
This is Dark Moon. It is essentially the full form of Raw Moon that we'll see later on in this game. Oh, the bottom text says they were going to explain the name change. I was thinking it was probably something akin to some slang over here that probably shouldn't be said on YouTube. But yeah, go for it, the bottom text. Explain some of the name changes. Oh, one more phase. I really do think this is the best Yellow Devil fight for the best devil fight for learning the pattern. The bottom text, I definitely do have a dirty mind, and that was my main thought for why. But this devil can't hold itself on Earth's gravity too well. That's why it kind of has to stomp and drag the blocks, bounce them across. So,
I did notice that.
Yeah, this devil is not used to the gravity, so it's meant for space combat, not so much Earth combat.
So he never stood a chance to begin with.
Nope, not in the slightest.
Are you proud of yourself, Megaman?
But if he was given a bit more time, he probably would. Oh, that's a great comment. I'll let you read that out.
Look at the little dude. Look at that little devil doing the stanky leg.
That's great. That's a great comment, Felipe. So now there are 4 star droids out in space. They've been waiting to attack, essentially, this entire time. So, here is the mandatory shop. We're not gonna worry ourselves with it. But Dr. Light's gotta modify Rush for space travel. And so he does! And we get another really cool cutscene. You might be wondering, why is there a glass pod over Rush? Mega Man's a robot, he doesn't need air. Pressurization in space is a thing that is annoying. So essentially, if Mega Man is up there and his internals need a certain pressure, because like all engines are essentially like a pressure machine, to keep themselves pressurized in space, they have to be fully covered to survive Earth's atmosphere. Felipe says Rush is very fuel efficient. Yeah, he's solar powered. So here we've got the next war. We've got Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto.
Pluto.
Yeah. Well, everybody loves Pluto. Like, even if you're not a furry, you love Pluto. He's just a great design.
He does have a great design.
But we're actually going to go up against Jupiter first, and hope for the best. There are 2 power-ups I'm not showing off yet, and I'm going to try my best not to show them off. But I will discuss...
It's off-brand Crash Man.
It's what?
I said it's off-brand Crash Man.
Yeah. So, the big thing here is... we're in space now. We have space gravity. Most of these stages, any area that's outside, we have space gravity. Anytime we're inside, we don't. These guys are like the Crystal Joes, except a lot more powerful. The physics here are going to be really weird to get used to, because in the original Game Boy release, there was nothing but lag in this area. We are using RetroArch for this because, of course, rewinds are allowed for re-releases such as this, especially on the Game Boy.
Felipe says, good to see Pluto being one of the planet pals. Well, this was before Pluto was deemed to be not a planet anymore.
It's still a planet, it's a dwarf planet. So, when it comes to size of planets, yeah, I don't see any need to be mean to Pluto just because, you know, it's a dwarf. It just seems rude.
Well, I noticed the smallest thing they have towards a planet, I think, is like, I don't remember exactly what the unit of measurement was, but it was like 3 point something in diameter. If it's
Yeah.
less than that, it gets counted off as a dwarf planet instead, which I think is really mean.
A little bit. It is Star Droid, Fluffy as any.
No, the planet, not the Star Droids.
The bottom text says this game hasn't aged well. It's aged just fine. They are Star Droids, not planet droids. Yes, they're named after planets, but that doesn't mean anything, because we also have one that's named after the sun. So...
They weren't referring to the droids.
It was just what is in our solar system that we can see observably from our planet. That's how they're named. Felipe says, nice seeing Megaman gotten used to the pressure. Well, it's less so the pressure, and more so the pressure from Earth's gravitational pull when they're exiting the Earth's atmosphere. With the grab ability, we're able to grab things through walls, which I'm going to abuse all over this game, because this game can be absolutely mean with it. That's a great explanation. The sun's a planet, just more spicy than normal. Oh, great. Casey, we're getting all the fun comments today, aren't we?
Bah. That's a yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm feeling like a goat today.
You're fine. You can be a goat today.
Yay.
We're about an hour in, 41 minutes. I'd like to thank everybody so far for watching, and if you are enjoying this content, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. That's my one shill for today. Helps us out with the algorithm and all that, so...
Oh, I got a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
So, the weapon variable system, did it have to get modified for these droids in specifically?
No. That did not need to be modified at all.
That's what I find interesting, though.
Well, the thing about it is all... There's a standard issue to all of the bosses, right? Anything that has either been modified or worked on by Wily for repairs would need to stay within some Earth limitations. So, the Buster itself doesn't copy anything from the boss, it just analyzes what the boss is using, and goes from there. Wait a minute.
Oh, just like how you mentioned that it interpreted the bombs inside the bubbles as crash bombs instead.
Yeah. It can't be a one-to-one. There's no way for it to. You can't hold all of that in such a small robot like Megaman. That gem there is necessary. We are going to need that to get to Wily, so... Because Wily is the big bad here, even though Sunstar is much more of a threat. We're gonna go ahead and use up one of the E-tanks that we've collected.
Alright, I think I should start reading chat.
Probably. It looks like they're going quite fast.
Zenny says, Light could have just shot Megaman into the atmosphere into a metal salvo that shed after he reached his target.
He
Like
could
a
have.
little rocket.
He could have, but he wanted Mega Man back. Mega Man's got to come back, and if he needs a ride back, why not Rush? Rush can already transform. But here's Jupiter. He is one of the coolest Star Droid fights in this game. I akin this to... He's kind of like a hybrid between... He's kind of like a hybrid between Shade Man and... I'm like... What's his name in 11? It's not Energize. It's not Vault. What is it? Mega Man...
Spark?
No, Mega Man
No,
11's
not Spark.
fight. Oh, I can't think of the name. That's a shame, but
I'll look it up for you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello...
Fuse Man.
Fuse Man, thank you. We've got Video City 1. I'm doing quite well. Glad to see you. Thank you for stopping in, Empathetic Apathy. How fares the game so far? It's going fantastic. I wasn't expecting for this to go so well.
The bottom text, you don't have to retract that. You didn't have to retract that. You just said Fuse Man. You were right. You're fine.
Dr. Light, I found this crystal on the planet. You better analyze it. This crystal seems to be the energy source used by that planet's ancient civilization. With 4 of these, I can make an item that will reduce the energy consumption of your special weapons by half. I assume there are similar crystals like this one on other planets too. Collect all 4 crystals and bring them back to the lab. The bottom text, I'm not really in a place right now to start going on that again. I already made a video about it. Felipe, thank you for Fuse Man. Thank you everybody who said Fuse Man.
Mega Man just punching everything in the face just feels wild. He's having revenge from Pharaoh Man.
Video City 1, if you want to go check out Reploid Revo's 2 videos on the topic, disproving both of MatPat's theories, Wily is in fact the villain. We're gonna grab the we're gonna take the Mega Arm here, and hope that this helps us out along the way. Yes, we do. Absolutely, Empathetic Apathy. We definitely do. The amount of hateful comments we've gotten on that video, too, has been a little dicey. But from Jupiter, I think next up is Uranus, but I'm gonna go Saturn and hope for the best, because I think my memory is failing me. Saturn's really cool. That ring, it can actually open up a portal and essentially allow them to warp fast travel, which is really cool.
Videosity says, I forgot about Pharaoh Man. I loved his design in Net Warriors.
Oh, and yeah, Battle Network. Speaking of Battle Network, you can actually go and watch the entirety of NT Warrior and and Access on YouTube right now, which is pretty cool. But the whole gimmick for this stage is the gravity. Essentially, we've got high and low fluctuating gravity. That has to do with Saturn's fluctuation in gravity pulls that exist in real life. So.
I like Barrowman's design Battle Network.
You didn't. I did. I don't mind it. So there's two ways to get most of these items here. With the Mega Arm, it actually makes it super easy. Here's an enemy that we're not really gonna see ever again. Doesn't show up anywhere else in the series. More unique enemies. In fact, most of the enemies in this game are never really seen again. Sorry about the flashing there. That slows us down to a crawl. And the way it does that, I think, is it overloads the CPU. Which is really neat that it has to do that. Bottom Texas reminds me of Gravity Man's gimmick in 5. Yeah, but Gravity Man's gimmick's just upside down gravity. It's never... It's never anything more than flipping gravity. Here it's actually changing the way Mega Man feels and controls. Hello, Tree Boy! Welcome. I think it's just meant to show that the gravity has changed, not anything else, the bottom text. It could be a limitation of the colors, because it does actually change the palette slightly when you are affected by it in the black and white version. But I wouldn't think too hard about any odd color choices, because most of the time it's just, they're working with the Game Boy, it's gonna be a little weird. Oh boy.
Felipe said they made your Game Boy heat up in IRL to stop Mega Man.
They kinda did. We actually are gonna see that one other time in Mega Man X, actually. They do that same trick to the Super Nintendo for all of X2's weird slowdown-y gimmicks, which is really cool to see. It was also really interesting to learn about when I was learning about all these games. Like, just fascinating how the hardware changes depending on what you've got.
I just realized you could really break the game when that happens during Saturn stage.
Mm-hmm. And just like that, Saturn is down. Tree Boy says, have you played the new Resident Evil? It's so good. I have not touched Resident Evil 4 Remake yet. And I don't think Casey has either, but she's been playing through the original Resident Evil 4, and we've just been enjoying memeing around on the RE series with Leon and everything.
Yeah.
I do want... I do want to do it, but... Oh, sorry.
Felicia's played the demo, and when she gets the game, she wants to sit down with me and play it.
I want to play through it with Truman, slash Karmic, for those who know him as Karmic. We got Rush Jet! Loot! Tree Boy says...
the goat.
He's the goat. Tree Boy says he bought it day one. I would love to get it I would love to get it now, but I do not see a reason to at the moment, just because money is kind of all over the place. Next up, we're going to go to Uranus. I'm going to say it like Uranus, because Uranus is a little crass, and I don't feel like, you know...
I mean, it's the official scientific term now.
What, Uranus? Or...
Yes, they changed it.
Okay. Good.
It's since been changed.
So there is the grabby hand. That is how that works. You just mash shoot once it lands on an enemy, And yeah.
This is also called Rock and Claw in Japan.
Alright. I believe these blocks... This is gonna be one stage we're actually gonna... I believe we have to return to get the crystal. Here's a fun boss fight, and it's got some neat trivia. This boss fight, this sprite for this boss, especially the head, was reused from a scrapped mini-boss from Mega Man 4. Snake and all. The only difference here is the spikes and the moving platforms and the blocks that it shoots out are not missiles. We actually have footage of this boss being fought in Mega Man 4. There's no idea why it was removed, but it would have been a really cool set piece in Pharaoh Man stage and extended the length of that stage quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. This stage is really short.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just talk about how that snake on the headpiece kind of reminds me of that worm Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet?
You're right, it kind of does look like that.
That thing is scary. YouTube just froze up for me.
That's not exactly what's happening, Felipe. It's more like grabbing and crushing metal together to hopefully stop the servos from moving, so it can be repaired and bent back later with new capacitors and, you know, repurposed into something more useful later on. But I could see how they could see it like that. Oh, go for it, Casey.
Your PNG model is like picking up on your button taps.
Ah, I'm sorry. I'm holding the controller a little
so
up.
Funny.
I'm holding it up a bit higher and.
No, it's fine. It just looks so goofy.
These seal-like enemies show up later on in Mega Man 6 with a slightly different attack. We've already determined we can't get through those blocks yet, but we will, eventually. The bottom text says, Capcom once made a Devil May Cry game for kids and for families. It was a Nightmare Before Christmas game. I know about that, actually. Believe it or not, Truman wanted to pick it up one time when we were at the game store recently. Apparently, it's pretty good. But I have no opinions on that at the moment. Haven't played it. Have played Devil May Cry though. Really like that series. I'm gonna see if we need that E-Tank. And if not, I'm gonna just use an E-Tank and then grab it. Yeah, I'll just grab it. I'll use it and grab it.
Nightmare Before Christmas with the style meter.
Yep.
Considering how the movie actually ended, I'm not entirely interested in it.
That's fair.
Not even Kingdom Hearts did that, says Felipe.
Yep. The game's good, but Devil May Cry is still always going to be a bit better in my opinion, just because of the style that it has. I'm not one for the Tim Burton-esque style. My sister is. She really likes Tim Burton movies and stuff. I enjoy them to a degree, but not as much.
I like the Mega Buster in Devil May Cry. I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, that made me happy. That made it a day one purchase for me, and that's what actually got me into Devil May Cry was the Buster changing the jump and all of that. It was just so cool.
I couldn't believe it until you showed me.
So we're at the boss here.
Imagine Toy Story, but with the Devil May Cry gameplay. That'd be kind of crazy.
Alright, I've got enough for our next upgrade, too. So, we're gonna hope we have the weakness here. Toy Story with Devil May Cry gameplay could be interesting. And it is the wrong choice. That's alright, we have a cat. Right, chat?
Yeah.
Cats are best friends, right?
Yeah, they are. Whoa.
Oh, he's not doing any damage.
So that's this boss's thing?
Yep. Making walls,
That is-
picking up blocks. He's stronger than Gutsman in every way.
That is horrifying.
It is. It really is. Especially when you realize that he charges like a bull and has the temperament of one. It really does go to show that these guys are... they mean business.
So let's see here. Gutsman is essentially as strong as a bulldozer, if I'm correct.
Yes.
If not stronger.
Concrete Man is a little stronger than that just because he was made afterwards.
That's fair.
But Uranus is able to pick up the stage itself.
That's pretty crazy.
We're gonna go to Dr. Light's lab.
Mario would be perfectly suited to fight that boss. I don't know if Mario would win against Uranus.
Yeah, that's a little tricky to think of.
That'd be kind of scary.
Oh,
Mario
we
would
actually-
get torn in half.
We actually need 144 for that. Okay, well, we're close. I'm surprised at how well today is going. I suspect Mega Man 4 to make me rip my hair out, and 3 to actually make me cry, so...
Okay, 4 won't be so bad. 3 might.
Have you ever seen 4 for Game Boy?
Oh, 4 for Game Boy. I'm stupid. I thought you were talking about 4.
Nope. I'm talking about the Game Boy games.
Okay, in terms of the Game Boy games, yes, 4 would definitely make you cry. I won't even touch it with a 32.5-inch pole.
Oh, I actually messed up. We need Pluto's weapon for this. That's my bad. I'm sorry about that. We don't have an exit utility, so I'm sorry for the horrible reversing sounds. Luckily, the stage wasn't too long.
Felipe
There we
says you need the power of cat boys for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a cat, and I'm a boy. Does that count? Does that count, chat? Everybody who knows me as Presto Bunny is going, no, it doesn't count. Here's a new here's a new Met. He has little tank treads.
Got it.
What'd you say?
Tank Met. I was saying it. I pronounce things as I write them down.
No, you're good.
Mario platform? Question mark?
I mean, kinda. It does. It's Steel Girder. Let me see here.
Presto Bunny.
We-
Yeah, that's Presto. You can see them right there.
On the bottom of the screen there, you can see the head and the little paws of Presto, begging you guys to subscribe. I actually have him as a fursuit, so I'd love to show him off a little bit more. He's been in my shorts, but I don't really, yeah. But Felipe,
Wait, we're talking cat boys.
Felipe says, look, I'm into it, but why is Pluto a cat? Because Pluto's a cat.
Let's see here. I mean, Pluto is more What type of cat are they? They're like a saber tooth, but also not a saber tooth.
Well, seeing as Pluto is technically the coldest planet in the solar system, I believe it's meant to be a saber-toothed tiger.
I win.
One found within the Ice Age.
Chad, I win.
Silly Mega Man, everyone knows Pluto is a bloodhound. What? No. What are you talking about? Crazy.
Well, with his claws, I assumed it was a saber tooth, and then but because of his stature and the fur, I also assumed it would also be some type of snow leopard. But then again, he doesn't have any sort of markings on him.
So we're gonna come down here.
Pluto from Disney? No, chat. No, we're not talking about Disney.
Well, no, not Disney. Listen, Disney tried to cancel the Mega Man movie. When they bought Fox, they sold off the rights to the Mega Man movie back to Capcom.
Felipe says, so Pluto is just a furry. Good for him.
Yeah. I like that the chat can be tame about that. But Pluto literally is
kind of weird.
Pluto literally is just a just a furry. Believe it or not.
I leak it, George. Sorry.
It's one of those little things that is mentioned and then is never brought up again. But as far as Pluto is, he chose to look like that. So.
Empathetic Apathy says, better they sell the rights than have Disney make it. Dear Lord, Disney making it would be terrible.
So initially it was Fox that owned the rights to it, right? And Fox sold the rights because Fox had the rights, was working on it, had the writers picked out, was preparing to film it, and then they got bought up by Disney. And then the writers, directors, and pretty much everybody who was working on it who didn't want to stay at Fox took their idea and got Capcom to greenlight it for Netflix. So we'll actually see a live-action Mega Man movie sometime soon. I'm sure of it. Probably later this year. It was delayed due to COVID by a little bit. I have seen part of the script. I cannot lie there. I have seen part of the script. And I don't think there's any reason to worry. That is my word.
Andre the Kangaroo says, hey, Gavin.
Hello, welcome. And Felipe saying Awooga. I don't know why. Is it because the Cat Boys?
Catboy. Just let's be real, Catboy.
No, because there's me. I'm on the stream too. Or am I a boy cat? See, that's the tough question.
You're a male cat.
I'm not a meerkat, that's for sure.
I said male.
Male cat. Not a cat boy. Oh, that's a shame.
No.
That's a shame, because Artie considered me a cat boy.
Oh, well then dang.
Yeah.
Never mind, I'll reconsider. Artie said different.
And now... Felipe said it's because the cat boys. Fluffy said this is me? Question mark. Now we've got Proto Man, who gives us the Yushaishi and opens up the path for us. He came all that way just to help us. What a bro.
He is your bro.
Because Pluto had the smart idea of burying himself deep in the planet so Mega Man couldn't get to him. How smart?
Well, it is initially smart if you really think about it.
Empathetic Apathy says he thought I was a Dirk boy. The name of the channel is Gavin Dragon, yes, but that does not make me...
Whoa.
Yeah, he's kinda...
Ludo's fight looks really intense. This is giving me Sigma vibes.
Up there. Okay, that doesn't really seem to do anything. There we go. That is doing something. I will take it. Some of his attack pattern was reused for Slash Man. But with that, we now have one of the coolest weapons in the game. Believe it or not, they programmed this really well. Like, I really like the way this weapon was programmed. It's better than the top spin, which is really good for me.
Is it Mario's down special from Smash 64?
So you've got a normal buster, and then when you charge it up, you dash into the enemy, and you have invincibility frames during and after. To me, that's like a really well-programmed weapon. Like, I just like the way that works. But now we're gonna go ahead and grab the energy balancer.
Empathetic apathy.
Oop, go for it.
They say, yeah, I admit I never knew what to call you. I like referring to all my furry friends by their species, but you have always left me the most confused.
You can call me a cat or a bunny, either or, but, we're gonna go back to Uranus real fast before we tackle the next boss. It's probably
I'm a dragon.
She is. She's a Dutch Angie. She's a Dutchie. So I would like to go over something else about this game that is a little different. So, if you game over 4 times in one stage, you will be transported back to Dr. Light's lab, and he will upgrade your Mega Arm. And with that upgrade, you charge faster, and the weapon flies further. It can help you, and this can be done up to 2 times. And one time it'll fly, and if you do so, it will actually fly further on the second upgrade. Sans Gaming says, "Hey, you still know me?" Yes, I do.
You're Sans.
I don't forget you. I don't forget most people. Or I try my best not to. Especially if they're recurring on my streams. Fluffy Zenny says, "Good Dutchie."
Yes, I am a good Dutch. I think.
We're up to 7 lives so far. This has actually been my best run of this game yet.
You also have been using Rewind, but
Doesn't matter.
Been using it.
It doesn't matter because, so the last time I fully played this game, I was doing it for this channel. There is an old playthrough of this game with facts and trivia thrown in there. I don't recommend watching it. You'll get a better experience watching this one. That run took me 8 hours to record all the footage for it.
And it was in black and white.
And it had the lag. And I game overed twice, so I had both the upgrades. This time I haven't game overed really once. Or even come close. Use Rush Coil. The snakehead on the box looks like a ditto, says Fluffy Zenny. San says he can go live now. That's lovely. Glad to hear it. I hope everybody's been enjoying the stream so far. I'm actually getting quite hungry myself. But we ain't stopping until we're done with this game. The other... for those curious about the other streams for this week, we will be doing a Donkey Kong arcade run, where we'll be doing the arcade Donkey Kong trilogy, as well as the Game & Watch variants thereof. And here is the final gem. We're still gonna play through the rest of the stage to hopefully get some more P-chips, because I would like to have at least a few more S-tanks. At least one S and 3 more weapons, because final part of this game is kind of tough. As you were saying?
Can we just talk about how one of the gems is just straight up a rupee from Zelda?
Yeah. And one is just kind of straight up a Chaos Emerald.
You're right, and the other one is a Chaos Emerald, but from above.
Let's see here. We have an opal, a diamond, a rupee, and a columns piece. Columns.
No, that's an Infinity Stone.
Oh, right. Sorry. Instead of an opal, an Infinity Gem, a columns piece. I'm never not gonna call it a columns piece. I'm sorry, folks. I just play a lot of Sega. Speaking of, this game was made by Minikuchi Engineering, who later went on to make Megaman The Wily Wars, which we'll be playing right before the Legacy Collection comes out. So, keep your eyes on that.
Okay, I'm kind of surprised you didn't grab that item. It just flew right past you.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, am I behind?
No, I don't think you are.
Okay, my computer has been desyncing the stream like constantly, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't like stating like a fact from 40 seconds ago.
Can we make the snake head a meme? Can somebody like grab that, just the snake head, and then write the words like bruh under it?
Gotcha.
Like, that looks like perfect. Anyone can do that. It just looks like the perfect, like, really face. See, I knew it looked funny since Senny. Great. And with that, we're at 9 lives, which is an amazing run right now. I don't care if I am using rewinds. This is really good. Surprise Pikachu type of meme format? Exactly. It might even be the same face. So this right here... No P-chips are required for this item, only the crystals. Do you want this item? Yes, this doubles our energy capacity for weapons. We want that. We're gonna get 2 more W tanks, and then hopefully by the time we beat Terra, we are going to... I should be able to... just go straight for the boss. I would like at least one S-tank, but I'm not worried about it. So let's go fight Terra.
I'm kind of surprised that Terra isn't a female robot.
Yeah, that is...
It's not so much the name, but more or less the symbolization behind Earth and Mother Gaia.
Yeah. I'm not so sure why, but it's alright. Luckily here we have a fight against him, and... So, you might be wondering, why are they following Wily's orders in the first place? They don't really seem to like him too much. They just seem to follow him because they don't want to disappoint him. Which doesn't seem like a great reason. But you'll see later on during this marathon why they follow Wily. And it's not a good reason. It is one of the worst reasons ever. But we beat Terra. And with that, we've obtained our 9th and final power-up for this game. This is a really good weapon. that we're probably not going to get a whole lot of use out of because we get it so late in the game. So, once you fire it out, it traces to an enemy, zips through them a few times, that hitbox is active every frame, and then immediately after the enemy is destroyed, it goes after another one. And it'll zip up to, I think, 5 times and then disappear. And out in space, we see Wily has built himself a space station. This is known as the Wily Star. They're not even being shameless with their inspirations on this one. It's got the same divots and everything. But Wily just blew up the asteroid we were on. And now we have one of the coolest stages in a Mega Man game. I don't think you're ready for this, Casey.
I'm not, because I'm desynced again.
Oh boy. Here we are. So.
And my stream froze.
Oh no. Well, we're on a space shooting link level where we're controlling Rush, who is slightly slippery. And we get to see the charge shot effect because Rush was upgraded with a charge shot instead of the normal just pellets. In fact, it's the same charge shot sprite as seen in Mega Man 4 for Game Boy, with some minor modifications to make it smaller in terms of file size.
That's cool.
The stage isn't super hard, but the boss is a little tricky. But this whole stage is an auto-scroller, and it's a great time for me to answer any of chat's questions. Be it the development history of this game, or, you know, literally anything on this game. Or the series as a whole.
That's fair.
I honestly think that Mega Man 5 for Game Boy is some of Minikuchi's best work. This is the only problem with this stage. Rush moves very quickly, and those beams are very quick to get you. But we are officially at the boss. So here we have this tiny little Mega Man sprite that we control, and this is why I love this stage. If you hit A, you can zip out of the way really quickly, but it is limited in how fast you can spam that.
Let's be real. If they made this on NES, they probably would have done the same exact thing with shrinking Mega Man and Rush.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and we'd have a really huge Wily Star sprite. Honestly, it's a little bit... It's kind of a deterrent, I think, honestly, because making this for NES, it'd be cool, but there'd be so much sprite flicker that the Game Boy just doesn't need to worry about because of the power of the Game Boy.
Okay, that's fair.
I feel like you get more out of it with this being a Game Boy title. Even if it's not, you know, the most impressive Game Boy title, it's long, it's challenging, but it's fair. And with the DX hack, you getting the colors just elevates this beyond belief. Most of the color choices were based on the screenshots we got of the Mega Man Mania that I mentioned earlier on in this video. Mega Man Mania was a Game Boy Advance port that never got released because the source code got stolen and lost. And/or lost. We still don't know exactly, but it's probably sitting somewhere. By now, it's probably been deleted, but if somebody has that source code, it'd be so cool to see what these versions of the games would look like. We'll more than likely get them eventually, but not now. But the Game Boy games do really need a remake, and 5 especially. I'm going to try not to use E-Tanks as much as possible, but here we have a little bit of a combination here. First up, you need Uranus to remove the blocks, then you need Pluto to smash through the wall. This game is going to test everything you've got. But there's the Met variant. One with one eye, one with 2 eyes. Cosmetically different. Down there is where the path meets up. We didn't go that path because we had plenty of weapon energy. And here we have copies of Inker in tubes. So, seems like Wily is planning something pretty big if he's willing to bring back Inker. Inker was from the Game Boy games. We saw him in Mega Man 10. Although I didn't really finish the fight that time. I suppose it's time we pay our buddy a visit. And I think the first up we need to use an E-Tank, because with a powered up Buster, Inker is back. Using his Game Boy palette, the grabby arm here is going to be one of your best friends, because you can land more hits on Inker that way. Every time you hit Inker, he does power up his Buster as long as he is in the... as long as he is holding up his staff there. So we haven't really shown off Rush yet here, but we're going to right now. Because I like to show off the alternate paths here. I think they're just more fun to go through. We're going to use Pluto's weapon there. And we once again have Proto Man throwing down a Yusaishi. We can max out our weapons in case you've used them. And I think that's the last time we're going to see Proto Man in this game, but I could be wrong. Alright, we did not need to waste for that, but that's okay. And right over here, we see a copy of a boss that we haven't fought yet. This is Quint. He is never seen again. However, I've got 2 games with very similar bosses. Quint is a future Mega Man modified from an alternate dimension. So it's an alternate timeline where things were peaceful. Wily gave up after the 2nd attempt, and they stole Mega Man and made him into a clone. Took him back to the main timeline and had them fight together. Mega Man fought and defeated Quint and was none the wiser. Meanwhile, a copy of Quint that was released to that dimension went in on a rampage and destroyed that timeline. And we'll fight him later on in this marathon. But for now, here's the copy of Quint. Quint is not a hard boss. Quint is also not created by Minakuchi Engineering. Quint was made by a company called Biox. What he rides on top of is a custom-made utility called Sakugane. Sakugan is rather an interesting jackhammer-like weapon, but we don't have to be too worried about it. How about that, guys? Oh, yeah, go for it. Read it.
Empathetic Apathy says, "What the heck is this lore? Were they on assorted substances when they wrote it?"
No. So, when Biox got a hold of Mega Man, they didn't really know what they were getting into, so they made the second Game Boy game, and made it incredibly easy. And then to go along with that being easy, the whole being easy thing, they wanted a kind of fun and goofy story, so they made a time travel plot. But when the Game Boy rights went back to Minikuchi because Capcom was not happy with the quality of Mega Man 2 for Game Boy, Minikuchi was like, oh, well now we have to clean this up. So they did. Wily Wars helped tie up the timeline shenanigans, which we'll get to it when we get to it. But there was still one hanging loose thread: what happened to that destroyed timeline? And Namco went ahead and made their answer to that with Mega Man and Bass Challenger from the Future, which I will play later on in this marathon after the Legacy Collection comes out. And here we see copies of Punk. He was in 3 for Game Boy. And we'll have to fight a much harder version of this boss later on. But here he's pretty slow. Pretty good. I actually find this fight kind of fun. Oh, come on. Aim high for me, bud. There we go. But no, Mega Man is actually one of those franchises with a very consistent timeline. Like, I don't have to, like, when it comes to other franchises like Mario, they really don't care about story. Zelda had that same problem where Nintendo just doesn't care about story that much. Sonic has been all over the place and it's hard to follow everything, even though it does make sense. But Mega Man, it's consistent. If nothing else, it's consistent. And here we have Ballad, the last of the Mega Man killers. Quint is not a Mega Man killer, by the way. But the Mega Man killers are a group of 3 robots that are just really tough. They are built with and designed with the whole idea of destroying Mega Man. And there we go. Oop. Now I gotta know what's over there. So tomorrow's stream will be Donkey Kong and assorted Donkey Kong games, so Junior and 3 and all that. Not useful, but if I could... Nope, no weapon. Okay. Hoping for weapon energy there. Nope. Not fighting it, not worth it. Falling down. Screw it, we're just gonna go take the long jump for that. Hope that it's not just more health, because... No! Protoman, one more time! Extra life, got it, okay. And now we have the boss rush. Once again, more time for me to answer some really good questions. Casey, would you like to pick the first one that we go to?
Sure. There is none.
Yeah, there is.
Where?
Well, we have 3 on the left, 3 on the right, 2 on the bottom.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. I thought you meant questions from the chat.
No, bosses. Go ahead and pick the
Give me a
bosses.
second.
Chat
My
can
thing
pick.
is desynced again.
Chat can pick the bosses as well if they would like. Just pick a capsule and go for it. I don't know which ones are in which one of these. I do not keep that to memory, so.
Middle right.
Middle right. Fluffy Zenny's asking if you're comfy. Top right, second from the top. Okay, that's the next one we're gonna go to. Here we
Yes,
have.
I am comfy.
Here we have Mercury. We're gonna hope that he does not steal any of our weapon. I'm gonna presume Black Hole is the way to go on that. Yep.
Also, we do apologize if you guys can hear that in the background. Our neighbors are vacuuming.
Yeah. If chat wants to pick the next one. Zenny asks, how am I? I am okay. I am definitely holding up. My cozy? I wish I was cozy. Fleepy says, the Stone Man buff. If chat wants to pick the next one, I'll fight these in any order, pretty much. Right middle. Oh. Right middle is the one we did already. I'm gonna say the next one they say is bottom middle left. So I'm just gonna do the middle ones now, because I think that's what they mean. We'll do Zenny's first, because I could make more sense out of that one. And then I'll do Empathetic. This is such a fun fight to do. I like Saturn's fight, actually. I wish Jupiter's weapon was a little better, but, you know. What'd you say, Casey? I'm sorry.
I said I bet their fight really is fun.
Oh, couldn't be that. Alright, it's this. No, it's not that. Earth. Terra's weapon is just lovely. I love the way it reacts. Alright, the next one. We've got 3 on the left and top and bottom on the right. This is my favorite part, is just letting you guys pick stages. I'd love to let you guys pick all the Game Boy ones, but the Game Boy's games are so tough that the only one that I'd be able to let you guys pick on is 2 for Game Boy. And even then, Crash Man is questionable in those games. Top right is the next one. Alright, alright. We're just keeping this train going. Casey, what do you think of this game so far?
I really like it. Sorry, let me move this a bit closer to me. I really like it. It's pretty cool.
Empathetic Apathy asks, how do I memorize the boss weaknesses? I don't. Oftentimes, I don't, but it's generally... So the way the boss weaknesses work in these games is that... So, the boss weaknesses work on a rock, paper, scissors mechanic. So, like, rock beats scissors, scissors cuts the wire, wire shock the water, water beats the fire, fire lits the bomb, bomb destroys the rock. That's the way it normally goes. So, what I like to do then is just kind of piece things together from there. Essentially, you got to think about it like rock, paper, scissors when you're looking for weaknesses. Felipe says they have a rhythm, they guess. Alright, next one. We've got 3 now. Top, middle, bottom. Casey, do you want to pick the next one? And then I'll let the chat pick between the last 2.
Okay, sure. Let's see here. Top left.
Alright. Middle or bottom, folks? And here we have Venus. Taken out by Mars. I haven't really been using weapons a whole lot like I normally do, and that just comes down to my familiarity with the game.
That's fair.
Bottom last, work your way down. Alrighty. Now we've got Jupiter's fight. I do like that Jupiter equips shades for his lightning attack, almost like his sensors are blinded by his own light, which is amazing. So, there's a little fun fact. And now we've got Pluto again. We're gonna use Terra for this, because Terra is absolutely going to destroy Pluto. Even if it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, it still works.
Felipe says Jupiter also kind of looks like the green flying guy from 01.
Harpooya, yes. He does kinda. I don't know if there's any real reason behind that. Alright, and the final bit with Mercury, so I don't have to use a E-Tank yet. And now we want to fill up on Terra. I don't need the E-Tank, but it is going to be welcome. With that, I'll just let the game fill up the rest of my stuff. It even gives you 2 E-Tanks right before the final boss. This game tries to be as fair as it possibly can.
Aw, look at that. A Megaman game trying to be fair.
And we've got one more time with Proto Man here. Where he gives us some more weapon energy. And destroys the wall to reveal the capsule. Felipe says the terrorist weapon looks like a beat laser. It kind of sort of is. And here we have a machine hand. Robot hand. He is weak when he is attacking the ground. I should probably keep moving left and right. Make him easier to dodge, but then I run into stuff like that where not really my forte.
Did you guys hear it? He said forte. Now everyone spam gospel in chat.
They heard it through the grapevine. For some reason, Proto Man gives off chic energy to me. He kind of does have some chic energy. The new Gigantamax Pokemon looking wild now.
Hehe, gospel funny.
I love the comments.
I do too. So, the sprite that you were looking for, I was gonna originally just color it, but now I'm kind of recoloring the entire thing, so it looks pretty.
Oh boy.
I'm doing a good job though. I
I'm
just finished the headdress for Anubis, and it turned out amazing. I used cobalt blue.
I would love to
for
see
it.
that full sprite when you're done.
I'll send it over so you can put it up on screen.
If you, well, I'm not going to put it up on screen, but I am going to make it a reason to go check out the Discord, because it'll probably end up in the artworks section of the Discord.
If you do that, I'd be happy.
Links are in the description.
Casey starts crying.
You do know anyone can post in the artworks channel, right?
Yeah, I know. I just decided not to because I don't believe my art is good enough.
Trust me, we have all sorts of different art and fan art in there. It's anybody can put your stuff in there, and your work is great. So don't think quality is what matters when it comes to putting stuff in there. I'm not like a certain website where they judge you on every piece of art.
Yeah.
We're not going to name any names because I don't want people going and searching for it, but I'm sure they know the one. Some people do, at least. And with those two arms beaten, we're on to the Wily machine. And you might be thinking, well, how am I supposed to hit it? Use Earth's weapon. It's great at getting rid of stuff, and then afterwards, just send these bombs right at the enemy. And that's one hit. Yeah, a little late there. Okay. But that's the tricky thing about this guy. Is that these bombs hit for a lot of damage. And they move kind of erratically. You can take it out no problem once you get the pattern down. There are instant death spikes up there, so you do want to be careful. So, the minute you see these missiles straighten out, just slide. And the minute this guy starts taking you up, just get ready to hit him. Keep the bombs close to the Wily machine. Slide out of the way of the missiles. And you're golden. This fight isn't too bad, honestly. The hardest part is going to be not firing all your shots at once. But just like that, the outer shell of Wily's machine is destroyed. The ceiling comes down. And Wily is free for the hitting.
I'm kind of surprised this isn't the game where they pulled the Wily's and Alien twist.
I know, right?
This would have fit perfectly.
I believe, if I remember correctly, in the comics, Megaman makes a joke like, wow, I can't believe I was fooled. Aliens don't exist. Or do they?
Uh-oh. Rock, run.
We're gonna use Terra's weapon for the final hit there.
Oh, that looks gorgeous. Now I need to color the stones.
Felipe says, which one? Question mark? Why trying to kill Mega Man via Helepsy? I don't know what that is. The ancient weapon, Sunstar. Its noble weapon will destroy Mega Man.
Oh, they're trying to spell epilepsy.
Oh! Yeah, sorry about all the flashing, folks. I can't really do anything about that. But here's Sunstar. He's a bit of a tough guy, and he's not built by Wily, and he doesn't have to listen to Wily. He's gonna destroy Megaman, not because he wants to, not because Wily told him, but because he wants to.
Can an evil genius do this?
Absolutely, 100%.
I can't get over that joke, chat. I'm so sorry. Like, every time that I appear on Gavin's streams, that joke will be brought out, and I want to apologize in advance. It is so funny.
He's just built different. Yeah, he's built tough. We're gonna send out Terra's weapon. Hope for the best. And that's why you don't underestimate Sunstar. In this whole area, I believe you've got lower gravity.
Oh my gosh. He just decimated you.
Alright, we're down to one hit. We're gonna use that final E-Tank and hope for the best. Luckily, I've got plenty of weapon energy, so it's just a matter of not getting hit. He will burn the floor. You want to avoid that, but then he'll fall right through and follow you with a new set of attack patterns. Each of these sections are planned based on his health bar. No, there is no way to skip them. And here he goes using a Tango's attack. Almost like he's been learning from every one of the Star Droids on how I fought them. And since I didn't use Terra's ability, that's the only way that's his weakness. But we don't beat him to be completely defeated. In fact, we're gonna show him mercy. Megaman wants to help. He thinks that Sunstar could be useful somewhere else on Earth. He doesn't have to be a Star Destroyer. He doesn't have to be a Sun Destroyer. He could power cities. He could help humanity. And Sunstar is willing...
Infinite solar energy. Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. However, Sunstar doesn't want that. Sunstar doesn't care. Sunstar thinks that they were both built for war, and war is all that exists. But Megaman's like, no, that's not right at all. Humans and robots can live in peace, together. But, since he doesn't run on a solar core, he runs on a fusion core.
Oh, silly Megaman.
Which is alien technology, by the way, because we don't see fusion reactors in real life. We see fission reactors, if I remember correctly.
Gavin dropping the lore?
Yeah, so that's what leads me to believe that all of these bosses are definitely not made on Earth. And as we're getting out of here, the whole space station is being destroyed because Sunstar is absorbing energy very quickly with that fusion reactor of his. Fluffy Zenny, Gavin with the knowledge bomb. Oh boy.
Indeed.
It's not... I like science. I can't help it. You know that meme of the, yeah, science from Breaking Bad? That's me. I like science a lot.
Yeah, that's Gavin. What are you gonna do about it, chat?
And just like that, space station's destroyed. But don't worry. With that little chime, Wily made it out okay. In fact, during the fight, he wasn't even gonna watch Mega Man get destroyed. He was already flying back to Earth. He knew he messed up the minute Sunstar went and attacked him. But Mega Man doesn't know that, and is just kind of chilling. the somber ending. You had to beat 8 bosses that could have been very useful as worker bots on Earth to help forge, you know, more of a help towards robots and humans living peacefully. But instead,
Boards of Empires.
we don't get that. And he's just kind of bummed out about it. And I feel it.
Look how chubby he looks.
Yeah. It's a cute sitting on the grass sprite. Holding the leg, the other leg outstretched. Angle's a little
He's like
weird.
pondering.
Mm-hmm. Remembering the battle. After this, Mega Man 6 happens, and we'll do Mega Man 4 for Game Boy later on. Empathetic, let's see here. Felipe says, wasn't Freeze Man trying to build a fusion reactor, or was he trying to reverse entropy? I don't know. Fluffy Zenny says, watch more of my stuff. Empathetic Empathy says, I just looked at the description. Why Ohio? Because that's where I live. And if I tell YouTube where I live, it actually helps my videos perform better in the algorithm. So, you know, not enough details there. Cuddly Kong says, that was quick. Yeah, I was expecting this to be a bit longer, but 2 hours is just about perfect. Felipe says, and those robots might as well be Reploids, since I don't think they put the laws of robotics on space. No, they don't.
And they wouldn't be Reploids.
Well, no, they wouldn't be Reploids, because Reploids are replicated X or 0 from their schemes. So, they're their own thing. Star Droids are their own thing, which is really fascinating. Sin Symphony says, hey. Oh, YouTube has the weirdest hack set. It's like an SNES game, says Empathetic Apathy. It's not like a hack, it's more like it helps out slightly. Not a whole lot. And then we get the thank you for playing screen with the space station. Sin, I'm doing quite alright. Anyways, as you were saying?
What do you think Roll was doing this entire time?
Helping Dr. Light develop new items in the lab.
Okay.
I mean, we saw her at the opening. We saw her in the intro.
Yeah. I know we did. I meant, like, after that.
Yeah, once again, just helping Dr. Light around the lab, probably. There's a lot of cleanup to do. But that's it! That was Mega Man 5 for Game Boy. Empathetic says, woo, one more Mega Man down. You're working through them quickly. Yes, I plan on getting all of them done within a month. I actually have all of the Mega Man thumbnails already prepared and ready to go. So tomorrow's gonna be Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3, their Game & Watch counterparts, and whatnot. And I'll be showcasing those games. And then either Thursday or Friday will be Mega Man 4 for Game Boy, otherwise known as Mega Man World 4. There's not a color or a hack for it yet, so if somebody wants to get on that, go for it, because 4 for Game Boy is just as good as this one. Casey, do you have any final thoughts before before we close it out here?
I'm done with the sprite.
Oh, cool. Well, I guess with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everybody enjoyed. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so at GavinDragonYT. You can also support the channel by just subscribing and dropping a like and telling a friend about it. Yeah, we've also got a PayPal where you can donate if you really want to help out. There'll be stuff on your screen in a bit for you to click on. Other than that, I've been your humble host, Gavin the Kitty. Good night, everybody.